Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Let's bring the meeting to order this Thursday, November 17th, 2022, for the Warminster Township Board of Supervisors. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a second to commemorate our brave civilians and armed forces serving overseas. Thank you. All right. It's nice to see some happy faces here. I just have one announcement tonight. I hope everyone had a nice Halloween and a safe Halloween, but we had a executive session right before this meeting, and we discussed labor contracts, some litigation, and I believe that was it tonight. Yep. Thank you. That's all I have. Kathy?
The only announcement I have is we just recently celebrated Veterans Day, and I'm sure everybody here knows somebody that serves in the armed services, and it's always a good thing to let them know how much we appreciate their service, because they put their lives on the line so we can have our freedoms. And that's all I have. That's all my announcements today, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Kathy. Mark?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to start off with a couple of condolences I'd like to send along. One of them is to the Maskin family, for Ed Maskin, who was a resident over at the Villas of Five Ponds, and he was also a volunteer in the township, served on the library board. And if Sheila, I want to send Sheila and her family our condolences. And I just found out prior to the meeting that Kathy McDonough from Park and Rec's father passed away, James McDonough. Just found out right before the meeting, so I'm going to send condolences, I'm sure, on behalf of the board
please do.
and the administration. I have a couple of Park and Rec announcements. Upcoming events. Fresh Connect food box distribution continues Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the rec parking lot. Visit Bucks County Opportunity Council for eligibility and pre-registration. November 28th to December 10th, residents of Warminster can register their homes for the inaugural holiday house decorating contest.
Yeah.
Prizes will be awarded in two categories. Which is interesting. Classic and extreme. So that should be great. Visit the Township Park and Rec Facebook page for more information beginning November 28th. There's a little thing that I think it's going out on our blurb's going out about that. Let's see what else we have. Designer Bingo returns February the 10th, Friday. Registration will be available December the 1st. Visit Park and Recreation, www.warminstertownship.org. And I just have a couple other quick ones. This Saturday and Sunday is the Sip and Shop over at the golf course. I think they're up to 50-some vendors they have now. And it's 10, I believe it's 10 to 3 on Saturday and Sunday. A lot of really good holiday vendors. And I just got this right before the meeting, that our friends from Love Liam called a special guest to come on Sunday from 11 to 1 at Five Ponds Golf Club. Make sure you bring the little ones as you shop for the holidays. Santa will be walking around to meet our guests and do a little holiday shopping for Mrs. Claus. So please come if you're going to be there Sunday from 11 to 1. Santa will be there. Compliments of Love for Liam. And just one last one. I had the opportunity to go over today on behalf of the board. They dedicated the Career Center at William Tennant High School for our friend Joe Cowie's name. Joe had started that. They started a ShopRite store there where the kids work in there and learn how to work in a store. They dedicated that today. In fact, we just found out about it. I called you about it the other day that they had the dedication today. I was glad to be able to be there. Joe's family was there. It was a real nice dedication ceremony, and it was put on by the Centennial Education Foundation. So nice. that was a good one.
Yeah, I'm glad someone from the board was able to make it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I wasn't able to make it.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it
did come about quickly.
It just came up. I just found out about it. But anyway, it was a nice dedication for Joe.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Janice?
I just wanted to mention a couple of things that are coming up this coming Sunday. Is the Hatboro Christmas Parade. I know it's not happening in Warminster, but our high school band will be there, and some other organizations, mine included, will be marching as well. So encourage everybody to come out and get in the holiday spirit in Hatboro.
Excellent. Thank you. Judy?
Oh, I wanted to let you know that the Ben Wilson Community Center was closed up until November 15th because from the 9th to the 15th, I think it was, because of COVID. I think it's open again. It's supposed to be open now again, and they are having a couple of activities. they're having a craft show. I'm getting the craft projects mixed up. Their Thanksgiving craft project is November 21st from 9:30 a.m. And it's $2 for members and $3 for non-members, and they make this cute little centerpiece that you can have for your Thanksgiving dinner. And also, I wanted to remind people that they're having a Bermuda trip. The Bermuda trip is going to be April 30th to May 7th, and of 23. And you can click on their website and find out about the Bermuda trip that everybody's going to. There's lots of good things going on at the library. People really need to make more use of our library. We have wonderful activities at the library. And right now, coming up, we have on November 21st, the Winter Trees watercolor class. On Tuesday, the 22nd, we have Pokemon trivia. Sounds like fun. It'll be closed for Thanksgiving holidays from November 23rd, open again on the 28th, and then they'll begin all of their regular programs in December, including chair yoga, chess club, creative writing on Thursdays. A lot of fun. So please try to enjoy your library activities. That's all.
Thanks, Judy. I know Peter was here last meeting, showed us the numbers. I'd like to see those numbers back to pre-COVID.
We should have him back. We gave him the bums rush because the Phillies game
We
is coming
did.
on. We should definitely have him back
Yeah,
again.
we'll have him back and we can have him
We
present.
held him, I think we held him 3 minutes.
Right. Yes, although there were a lot of people that thanked me for getting through that meeting quickly.
I was one of them.
Yeah.
Me included.
All right. No presentations tonight, no land use matters. Oh, one question. The Ben Wilson Center being shut down for COVID, did that affect the construction going on over there, the HVAC and the electrical?
It did not.
Okay, excellent, good. Good. Okay, public comment. There's somebody that wants to speak.
I love her smile.
Hello.
Boy, somebody was tall. Good evening. In case you don't know who I am, my name is Bobby Loftus, and I am your tax collector. I thought I'd give you a quick update since I haven't been here for a while. In March, we sent out 10,400 bills. As of today, 123 people are left to pay.
Wow.
I just gave John a check now for 10,000 for real estate and 6,000 for trash. So when we started the year, we started with a little over 8.2 million to collect. As of today, I only have 86,000 left to collect. The light, we started at 45,800, and I only have $72 left to collect. The trash, we started at 3.6 million, and we're down to 43,000. So collections are really good. Final notices just went out, so I'm sure I will get, more payments in. We always get a lot of people that pay the last day. The final notices state that you have to pay by cashier's check, certified check, money order, or cash. I will take a personal check up till December 15th. Once we hit December 15th, I will no longer accept personal checks from December 15th till the end of the year. It has to be something that can't bounce. I also wanted to announce that the tax office will be closed next week. Normally, it's on my tax bills, but something came up and I have a chance to go away, so the tax office will be closed all week. I do have a drop mailbox to the left of my door. It is locked, and I will have someone empty it every day so that if payments do come in, they'll be there.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thanks, Bobby. Have a
Thanks,
nice
Bobby.
Thanksgiving.
Bobby, I have
a nice trip.
I have a very nice letter that I don't have with me, but at the next meeting, I'm going to read it. They were
Somebody
very-
said something nice?
Somebody said something nice.
Wow.
About our tax collector.
Because I had a
So,
really nasty letter from somebody at Centennial Station.
Well, I'll
About us?
offset,
No, about me.
I will offset that next week with, I'll bring it with us at the next meeting. I'll certainly read it. It was very nice. They were-
Wow.
They said
Great.
you are,
And they sent it to you, huh?
yes, they sent it to
Wow.
me.
Thank you.
My
Enjoy your
pleasure.
adventure.
Yeah, have fun, Bobby.
And thanks to the residents for
They really
stepping
respond
up and,
well.
yeah.
I started making some more phone calls to, for the interim tax bills. And to say, hey, you know, you always pay and you haven't. And I had people come over immediately to pay it. You know,
Yeah.
that with the mail the way it is, you just can't, you know, guarantee it.
Yeah, yeah, I know, it's a shame, but thanks for everything.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for all your work.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Okay. Consent agenda. Okay, we're going to consider approval of Resolution 2022-16, establishing procedure for issuing duty tow licenses. Consider approval of the Board of Supervisors minutes dated November 3rd, 2022. And tree trimming and removal services, consider authorization to advertise a request for proposal. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments on the duty tow or anything else? Any questions or comments from the public? Okay, being none, let's call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. All right, Mr. McKee, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion. I'd ask for a second to approve the bill list dated November 17, 2022, in the amount of $1,184,828.62.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions or comments? Questions from the public? Okay, let's call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. All right. No unfinished business. We'll save John for some new business, so let's move right to that. Appointment of Mechanic Consulting LLC as our new zoning administrator and officer. Tom, you got the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, at the last meeting, we had appointed Gilmore and Associates as the interim zoning officer. Today, I'm happy to announce with our new a new partnership with Mechanic Consulting. There's Brian Mechanic himself, and Brian will take over as our zoning officer and zoning administrator upon appointment as a consultant. And Mr. Kennard's volunteered to keep his firm available to help Brian during the transition. And we have, Brian's very excited about it. We're very excited to have him. We think we're making a turn in the right direction from the previous situation that will match what the current Board of Supervisors expectation is, what our end users' expectations are. I think this is a good match. And I would ask that the board appoint Mechanic Consulting LLC as our new zoning administrator and officer.
I'll entertain a motion. Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Okay. Come on up, Brian.
We really hired him because he looks like John Tintera. Because, you know,
Okay,
and John's going to be working with him, so that's
excellent. So, floor is yours. Tell us a little bit about yourself and, welcome aboard if the board so sees to do that. So, how are you?
Oh, I'm great, thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm a native of the greater Philadelphia region. I was born in the city and educated out in Lower Merion Township. Got an undergraduate degree at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, and had worked in the private sector in Chicago for 4 years before coming back to work on the political side. Since then, I got a Master's of Public Administration at the University of Pennsylvania's Fellows Institute of Government, specifically over there. I began a lot of my work on the zoning and planning side, sort of as a specialty of my degree. And then specifically, I was able to work for over a year as the Assistant Director of Planning and Municipal Development. Sorry, it's a different term at every place. Specifically where I had a lot of work in the zoning side, representing the municipality at the Zoning Hearing Board, the Planning Commission, and the Design Review Boards. So really had a wonderful sort of overlap with the role that'll be filled here, specifically working a lot on day-to-day zoning matters with the public. So from everything I've heard talking to Tom, I think there's a lot of opportunities to work with the public. It sounds like there's already a good rapport on the tax side with the collection, so that's a great starting point. And I'm really hopeful that, this could be a very fruitful partnership, and the people of the and residents of the Township of Warminster can have a very great and honest and productive experience on the zoning side.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. And one of the things that has always been a struggle that we've experienced here is the customer service side and actually enforcing the zoning. So I know that's a tough mix, but Tom and Lisa have spoken to you extensively, and they think that you're a man for the job, so hopefully we can get that to going. You know, anybody else, any other board members?
Do you have several other accounts beside Warminster, or?
Currently, I'm going to be working almost primarily on this with the relationship based on the hour load. Previously, I've worked with other zoning clients and done consulting work mostly on the firm side,
Right.
rather than specifically through hirings, other than the municipality. of
Because
North
I think
Central.
you're going to be spending a lot of time here, that's why.
No, that's
why I
actually,
asked,
that
to
was
make
the
sure
good
you have the
timing of
time
it.
to dedicate.
Yeah, to be,
We're going to
no,
need it.
it's, the contract was pretty much set up to be full-time, and as
Right.
far as I know, I'll be able to represent the municipality at those zoning hearing board meetings and what other.
And you'll be the guy.
present
There
themselves.
won't be surrogates sent in and out. You'll be the guy.
No, the Mechanic Consulting LLC is me.
Right,
So
okay.
And that's what we're looking for.
That's what we want.
Yeah,
Right.
right, yeah.
That's why I'm
No,
asking.
to clarify,
Because when you
yes.
get several different faces, things get,
Yeah, we,
I hope this mug is acceptable. I guess you'll be getting used to it.
John, it's 10 to 10.
okay. Any other questions from the board?
Well, it might be a stupid question. So you are the guy that you're just gonna handle the zoning, or the other things in the office also? I'm just curious, sorry, I should have.
The plan is that Brian Mechanic and his firm will handle only the zoning, and to start, mostly just the zoning as it applies to the permit traffic. And as his portfolio expands, he'll be, the more he does, the more we're going to give him.
No, that's fine.
but
'Cause
the
when he said
other
it was
stuff
just
is
him,
going
I'm
to be a
thinking,
different
right now,
cast.
we have several people in there that are working, so that's why I was asking the
Yeah.
question.
Right.
How's he
We're
gonna do?
I don't wanna get
transitioning
started
to a
on that.
second group, and
We'll let that go.
Yeah, okay,
Right.
sorry.
No, we won't go there.
Okay.
Judging,
So,
Mr. Kennard looks very upset that Brian will be
Oh, no.
replacing him.
Oh,
as
yeah, I'm
zoning
sorry,
officer.
yeah.
Very sorry.
I was just gonna add what Mr. Scott said is we'll help it, he'll get more comfortable thinking the permit section of the zoning, and we'll handle land development, and I think that's the next item, and we'll continue to do that. It's just easier. We've done that before, where we handle zoning related, any land development matters, anything that you'll eventually see, anything that you don't see, which is typically the individual permits. That's a good place to kind of revamp that and focus on that. And as he gains traction, we'll turn over more and more. So
Yeah.
we'll probably work very closely together for a while. Aaron from my staff and
And
Brian.
with the manager, that whole department needs to be completely fixed, if, for lack of a better word.
But that won't be his responsibility.
Right, so
Not
he's just
yours,
doing that
but
one
still, yeah,
spot,
he's
He's
okay.
just doing the
Okay,
zoning.
just the one spot,
Yes.
okay, that's. I
He's
just
fixed
wanted
number
clarification.
one.
He
He's
fixed,
Brian,
that's the
you're
first one. You know,
Right.
Gilmore's going to help
this is
us
step
until we.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Gilmore's offered to help us until we get another,
It's thoughtful.
someone to replace them. I think you're working on that now?
Yes, we'll have that in December.
Right, okay. Well, thanks, Craig,
You're welcome.
and thank you, Brian.
Yeah, and certainly in all those fronts, the land development side, zoning, whatever really has presented itself, I've got pretty decent soup to nuts experience with most of it. So, yeah, I think I'm very excited for the relationship to further development and see how I can both, fill in on past issues and, attend to new ones as they present themselves.
Excellent, excellent. Any other questions? No? Anybody? All right, let's call a question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion
Welcome.
carries. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good
I'm
luck.
so grateful.
Thank you,
Yes,
Brian.
Thank you,
See you
Brian.
tomorrow.
No, we just made a motion.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring him up to meet everybody. Okay, Part B, appointment of Gilmore and Associates as Assistant Zoning Administrator and Officer. Craig, would you like to say a few words?
Can I preside in the same meeting? No.
No.
I have no comment.
I make a motion that we appoint Gilmore Associates for.
I second that.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? From the public? Go ahead.
I just have a question.
Sure.
When a resident calls the township,
It goes to L&I.
Right.
Who's going to answer the phones? Him or him?
No, the calls come here now.
Oh, thank heavens.
The calls here.
Where they should come.
I agree. I agree. So when you call the main number, it comes to this building now?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful.
Not only that, they answer it.
Yeah.
And you don't have a machine? Oh,
No, they take a message, but you get a response pretty fast, you know.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad we corrected that, because that was.
Me too.
Yeah, that was brutal. to-
Yeah, especially on my end.
Yeah, I bet. So, another positive for tonight. Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so, any other comments? Let's call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right. Consider approval of Resolution 2022-12, implementing the provisions of Act 57 of 2022.
I have that in here on what page?
It's, I thought it's,
It's the last thing before the budget.
Yeah, new business.
Thank you.
is it? You got it?
Last thing before the budget slideshow.
Right, yeah,
Got
right
it.
before. Right down. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to need a motion to adopt this resolution.
Motion.
So moved. Yeah, no, second. Yeah, I'm
They
sorry, I
were
was
still
just-
readings.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's the same thing.
Kathy, no second.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Changes.
Any questions? Everybody still reading?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Holbert has volunteered to explain it to the
Yes.
board.
Please.
Thank you.
I'll make it easy. I'll make it sweet. I'll read the notice from PSAT. So, Act 57 of 2022 requires all municipalities that levy real estate taxes to adopt a resolution or ordinance directing their tax collector to implement its provisions. Townships will have from October 10th, 2022, the law's effective date, until January 9th, 2023, to adopt the resolution or ordinance. Act 57 allows taxpayers who fail to receive a tax notice during their first year of occupancy to apply for a waiver from any penalties and the additional costs from the tax collector. The State Department of Community and Economic Development is required to make a standard form available. And then they created the model resolution, though I doubt this is going to be a problem in Warminster, I think it's the fair say. So the idea being I buy a house, in the first year I own it, I don't get my tax bill. Under the normal law prior to this, you're still responsible for any penalties and interest that accrue. You know, you have the discount period, the regular period, the penalty period. In this case, if it doesn't happen, you get to waive that penalty and interest instead of having to pay it. It's just a change. It's the idea of, it's a fairness idea is all, so.
Okay. That's what I took out of it, without conferring with PSATs, but
What's
thanks.
that? Sure.
All right, so does the board have any other questions? Okay, because I know Bobby has a comment.
How do I prove to them that I mailed the bill when I mailed 10,400 bills?
That's a fun question.
Because I had a gentleman from Centennial Station scream and holler at me and call me such profanities, and said, prove to me that my bill was in there. Oh, I'm sure I took it out and didn't mail it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest way is obviously the duplicates. There's duplicate printed. I mean, it's truthfully, they don't think
Yeah.
these things through, but the idea is,
Yeah, the legislators didn't think it through.
No.
Yeah, I will keep a record because
I mean, the good news is,
courthouse is behind.
right,
That's the problem. The courthouse doesn't notify me in a timely fashion,
yeah.
and that's where the problem arises. As soon as I get a transfer, I send tax bills out all year.
Yeah,
I will now make copies of anything I send other than the 10,400.
yeah,
But,
right, because it only applies in the first year, so it's
Only
only
applies
when
the
you
first
send
year.
those,
Right.
the transfers
And
and things like that.
basically, I didn't have the authority to waive a penalty.
Right.
This gives me the authority to waive it if they meet the credentials that are set forth from the state,
Yep. Yep.
okay?
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I mean, it's a good question, how do you prove it? But, you know, of course, wasn't completely thought through.
No,
Can't
because
say-
I mean, like, I'm having people now call and say, you know, I never received the bill. Well,
Right, and this is the first year homeowners?
no, this is
Or-
people that have
Just
been 20,
anyone.
30 years.
Yeah,
You know, and I'll say to them, you know it comes out twice a year.
Right.
You know,
Oh, yeah, I mean, I remember those problems working for the county. It's like, you've lived in that house for 30 years, you don't know what your tax bill is, why are you complaining now all of a sudden? Like, it's 1 year, you know when they are, you've been doing this forever.
yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that the fairness idea is there, but they didn't think through the mechanism of, yeah, how do you prove that? I mean,
Yes, but I mean, it's different if it comes in, transfer comes in and I send one out.
right.
But when you send 10,400, you can't make copies of all them.
right.
At least I can't.
Yeah.
No. Okay,
No, I understand. Yeah, I mean, if there's copies, yeah, but like you said, it's the new people. It's the first year, so you're sending out your annual tax bills. Most likely, it's not their first year being the owner. So
okay, great, thanks.
you're welcome.
Any other comments from the public? Okay, being none, let's call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries 5-0. Okay. We're not going to need a motion before we start doing this, are we? Not. We're going to bring him up first?
Bring
Yeah, bring 'em up
first.
Bring him up first, then we'll take action.
Yeah, let's do that. John, how would you like to step up and be the man of the hour?
And he's giving you more than 3 minutes.
You get more than 3 minutes tonight, yes.
Well, I was told by certain people in the back I have 19, so,
19?
yeah.
Okay.
The only thing I'll guarantee is I am done but before this meeting's over. It's the only guarantee I got. Before I do get started, I do want to thank everyone who came out tonight. Thank Tom, Lisa, and all the department heads that helped out through the process of building the budget, looking at every single line item. Tonight you will see some slides from last year because I do find them very important, and then a whole bunch of new ones at the end. So the most important thing, here we go. The most important part of the presentation is that the 2023 operating budget will continue to provide high level of services with no tax increase to millage.
Very nice.
Those slides.
Keep your
job. Almost.
A couple more slides.
Drop the mic, drop the mic.
That's right.
Don't ruin it.
All right, so the township has 24.06 mils budgeted, which is unchanged from the 2022. That could be broken down into 14 mils for general, 0.19 for ambulance, 2 mils for fire services, which is a half mil decrease, 2.35 for library services, which is a half mil increase, 3.5 mils for park and rec, and 2.02 for debt service. The shift in millage from the fire fund to library is due to increased expenses in the library budget. The most notable line item increase is the property liability insurance. Overall, the township had over a 17% increase to the insurance, mainly due to cyber insurance.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
The library's increase alone was $30,000. The good news is that this increase will allow the library to balance the current budget without using any reserves and plan for capital expenses, which we'll take a little bit look at later.
John, can I ask a question at any time, just to, why it's fresh?
It doesn't go against my time. Joe.
Okay, just the money we're moving out of the fire fund, that's not gonna affect fire service, it's not,
Nope, no, it's, the way it's current, we are actually increasing the fire fund balance still with that $500,000 that was raised in 2022.
okay. I think I,
We did a $1 million increase in 2022, so we're just taking back a little bit of that and just shifting it over to the library to help them fund their operations.
I thought they had.
that goes back to what you're gonna read right now.
That's what,
That's why I
I'll
brought it up.
explain that, yes,
Right.
thank
Okay.
you. Because in the second-class township code,
That's why I brought it up.
which is what we have to abide by,
Right.
you cannot you can't charge more taxes than you spend. It's supposed to be a revenue neutral, all the funds. So So the concept that we thought was going, that might have a shot at what we were trying to achieve here, which is full-time day firefighters, we find that it's a violation of the second-class township code. So you can't have, I guess, like a slush fund.
We can't store what's,
You can't store.
can't store money.
Right, you can't
stockpile
just stockpile
for a rainy
money.
day. You can add fund.
Correct.
The best way to explain it is you can't take tax revenue in one year for the purpose to spend it in future
In
years.
future years,
That's-
that's correct.
That's why I wanted to stop right there and
Right.
clarify that.
Right, and I can read that as soon as I find it. It's right here. I've read it 16 times because, you
Mr.
know,
Albert, I'm sure knows.
yeah,
that.
it's right here, I got it. But
Anyway,
anyway,
between 3201 and 3205.
yeah, it's right, I know. All right, I'm almost there. Just bear with me here, it's,
And how's the library fund balance? Is it healthy? Obviously, it's
Yes,
not.
we're gonna get into the individual fund
Okay.
balances and what we're gonna do with them going forward,
Okay.
which is probably the meat of this presentation,
Okay.
is using those fund balances for the needs of infrastructure and the future of the township.
Okay. I won't
okay,
jump ahead.
I have it right here, if anyone wants to hear it. The Board of Supervisors shall annually prepare a proposed budget for all funds for the ensuing fiscal year, and expenses of the proposed budget shall reflect as nearly as possible the estimated revenues and expenses of the township for the year for which the budget is prepared, which reads, that's interpreted, a township shall not prepare and advertise notice of a proposed budget when it is knowingly inaccurate. So when we have this additional revenue that we're stockpiling, we know that's inaccurate. And we're not supposed to prepare a budget like that. So you have to estimate your expenses and budget for them and tax for them without increasing.
That's to protect the taxpayer.
That's to protect the taxpayer, that's correct. So, we just, we thought other things were going to work, but then when you really get into this, thanks to our solicitor and our staff, we don't want to continually violate the second-class township code, because it was done before. It's water over the dam now, but, it does protect the taxpayers. So, go ahead, John.
Okay.
Sorry, John.
Oh, no
You have
problem.
now 21 minutes.
All right, so here's an example of a property owner with an assessed value of $26,500 would pay in township taxes, $630 a year, or $53 a month. I'd like to stress that the tax is based on the assessed value and not the market value of your property. The property assessments are done by the county and are available on their website. The reason the assessed value is so far below market is the last reassessment was done in 1972.
We're
So that's
well
something-
aware, John.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment on that?
Sure.
$638 a year for services rendered here in Warminster is, in my opinion, is incredibly cheap.
Yeah.
For tax collection,
We're
police,
gonna get into it.
police,
Oh,
fire,
we're gonna
parts.
get into it.
I
We're
mean,
gonna get into
think
it.
about it.
We're all getting
I mean,
excited
we
about
get
the
screamed
money.
at all the time, but think about the service you're getting for what.
Right. I don't disagree with that. I
You're stealing my
mean, you
thunder.
make a good
Oh, I'm
point.
sorry, John.
Yeah.
All right, so obviously not everyone has an assessed value of $26,500. To make the calculation on an individual property, all you need to do is take the assessed value from the county, divide it by 1,000, and times it by the township millage rate of 24.06. So here's a breakdown of the total real estate tax for a property that has the same $26,500 assessed value, with the township portion only being 12% of the total real estate tax bill. Here's a breakdown of some of the services you get from the county for their 12%. And here are the services you get from the township provides. When you look at the services the township provides, we believe that local government gives residents the most bang for your buck compared to any service someone pays for. For only $638 a year, or 12% of your total taxes, you get police, fire, ambulance, public works, the library, parks and rec, most importantly, the finance department and administration.
Couldn't do it without you.
Yeah. So here's actually a new way of looking at it. Here's a dollar way of looking at the tax bill. The first 6 lines are a breakdown of the general fund, followed by what are known as special revenue funds that have dedicated millages. So I'd like to point out that if you take the public safety portion of the general funds, right here, and add in the ambulance and fire portions of the tax bill, the total is $333, or 52% goes to protecting the residents of your actual tax bill. And finally, here's some of the services the school district provides for the 76% or the $4,100 they collect. All right, we're going to take a quick look at the general fund operations. So here you can see the breakdown of general fund revenues. Act 511 taxes at 50% are the largest revenue. This includes the earned income tax of $5,175,000 and transfer taxes of $830,000 being the largest revenues. Real estate taxes make up an additional 33% of revenue. And as you can see, these two sources make up 83% of the total revenue for the general fund. And also listed are what makes up the remaining 22%. And as we move on, the most important part of this slide is that you'll see the total revenue here equals the total expenses on this side exactly. So as Ken was pointing out, our revenues are equaling our expenses in the general fund. We're not budgeting for any kind of increase or decrease in the general fund.
As required by the second-class township code. I might want to add that as well.
So public safety is the largest category at 74%. This is made up of the police, L&I, emergency management, and fire services. The remaining 26 is broken down to public works, administration, non-uniform pension, facilities, and 2% for other expenses. I do feel that the 74% shows the commitment to public safety the township has made and the community is looking for. So what I would like to do now is take a look at the budget as a whole. So here's a breakdown of what it costs to run the operations of the township. By operations, I'm talking about the total expenses, not including capital purchases or infrastructure improvements. Of the over $26 million in costs to run the township, one main category makes up 54% of expenses. And with employee costs being such a high percentage of the total township budget, here's a closer look of what actually makes up that 54%. So you can see here it's more than just salary and wages. Also, when looking at this number, it's important to remember that the township has 3 unions it negotiates with. All 3 contracts are up at the end of this current year. But once they're set on a year-to-year basis, there's not much room for adjustment based on those agreed upon contracts. So here you can see the township budget currently has budgeted 77 full-time and 17 part-time employees. Of the 94 full-time and part-time employees, 80 of them, or 85%, are covered under the union contracts. This makes it about 50% of the total budget is covered by union contracts, and we do not have much room from year to year to make any kind of adjustments. And here's a quick overview of the township's debt service. At the end of this year, there will be an outstanding balance of just under $14 million, with an average principal payment of $727,000 over the next 18 years. It's important to note that the GOF fund is making a portion of these payments through 2034. I do always like to point out that under the current millage, the way the debt is structured, no tax increase will be needed to match the debt service for this current borrowing. Okay, so now we got in some new slides this year. Here's a breakdown of the different types of fund balance that are inside the financial statements. So restricted fund balance is constraints imposed from external sources or laws. An example of this would be the ARPA money. When they gave it to us, they said you have to use it for these specific purposes. They did release some of those restrictions to allow us to do a little more of what we wanted with it, which is great because now we can actually plan for the future. Committed fund balance, restrictions imposed by formal action of the Board of Supervisors. This is what we did at the end of 2021, committing money to the OPEB trust that now went out. Once it's committed by a formal action, the only way to uncommit money is the same formal action. So if we the board changed their mind about doing the OPEB trust, there would have had to been another resolution freeing up that money. Assigned, constrained by the township's intent to be used for a specific purpose. Any official or body given the authority by the board can assign amounts. So this is every fund except the general fund. The fact that special revenue funds such as Park and Rec and Fire have the intent to be used for those purposes automatically assigns them. Within the general fund, the board could actually allow Tom or myself to make assigned fund balance within the general, saying we want to use it for this purpose going forward. And then finally, the unassigned fund balance is the remaining amount after all the other classifications. So it's pretty much what's left over. So when looking at this year's budget, there's some the budget was redesigned. I did it in Excel this year. At the top and bottom of every fund, you'll see a beginning and ending fund balance. Those fund balance numbers are made up of assigned and unassigned numbers because that's what's able to be spent within that budget. So when you're looking at it, there's not going to be any restrictions or commitments because that money's already gone for a specific purpose. Everything's going to be the assigned and unassigned. Okay. And now we're going to take a look at some of the capital projects because within the new design of the budget, there's operating revenues which are either equal to or more than operating expenses. So we're good on the operation side. It's that extra money and the money that's been building up over the 3 years of not doing any capital projects because we didn't know what the fiscal impacts of COVID were going to be. So we have healthy fund balances throughout every fund pretty much at this point. So what we did was we added line items saying, this is what we want to use the money for, and what you're going to see some of the pictures showing how needed these improvements are. So starting with the library, the ADA restroom installation and renovation of the existing bathrooms, what we were looking to do is adding a new ADA compliant bathroom, pretty much like a family style bathroom that any people in wheelchairs or anything like that would be good for.
With fresh flowers like King of Prussia Mall.
Yeah, and then renovating what you can see here is the current bathroom and making that look not like a grade school.
Vet Stadium. Vet Stadium.
Yeah.
That's what the one here used to look like, Vet Stadium.
Looks like the subway.
Yeah.
The next one is replacing the security system. It's an outdated system that's having a lot of false alarms right now, so that's definitely something that's in need. And then finally, replacing the carpet. Here you can see the hallway. It's just getting run down. I think once we do the other renovations, the carpet should be what should be on the list. And it's important to recognize that things that are on the list and in the budget doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's just kind of putting it on the radar. Anything, we don't know what prices are going to be. So once the prices come in, it will go through the infrastructure committee, and that will help actually move all these projects forward. Parks and Recreation. The playground equipment at Warminster Community Park, this is that really big piece that's right by the rec. It's 20 years old. It's kind of hit the end of its real useful life. It doesn't look too bad, but for safety's sake, this is the time that we need to start looking at replacing it. Anyone that's ever seen it, it is a massive piece of equipment. Right now, our estimate's about $350,000 to replace that. Playground equipment's super expensive. The Log College tennis courts. It's not the best picture, but there are a lot of cracks in there. And instead of resurfacing and repairing anything, what we're planning on doing is actually taking out the courts and putting an additional volleyball court in. We do have tennis courts at other parks that can be utilized, so we figure that's probably one of the better uses for that space. And the park lighting. This is one of the lights from Monroe Park over the skate park. You can see by the design alone how old the lighting system is. And when we say park lighting, it's not just this, it's also field lighting and other things that, as the infrastructure committee has met, we are looking forward to upgrading all of those other lights. And if you look close enough, there's no light bulbs in here or glass covering the non-light bulbs. So it was one of the worst ones I could find.
Yeah, we have some new lighting there that's not working as well.
Yeah. The golf course, they need obviously a bunch of stuff. You see it's almost over $1,452,000. One of the first things we look at, so this is hole 4. You can see the erosion. They like to dredge this and build a wall to keep the erosion getting closer to the green. If anyone golfs like I do, that will save a couple golf balls. The more grass we have, the better we are. So to make it kind of look like this is 17, to have that wall to make it look nicer and also stop any kind of future erosion going towards it. Here's the siding and the roof. It's not the best picture, but if you look close enough here, you can see the siding and the roof starting to deteriorate. So pretty much everything needs to be replaced there, which is also probably causing the problems with the windows. Up top, it's just starting to disappear. So there are a couple of projects. I know another big one is the HVAC system in the banquet room. Marley sent me a text of a picture of the thermostat. During a banquet, it was 85 degrees inside. I couldn't imagine paying for a banquet and being that uncomfortable inside during it. So that is something we should definitely look into as fast as possible. And finally, just the public works part of the capital reserves. One of the big ones is we have gas pumps over the public works department. As of right now, they're getting inspected next year, and we don't feel like they're going to pass inspection. So we are looking at the options of replacing or upgrading, doing any kind of repairs that are needed. The next one is, here's the ceiling inside the garage. You can see the insulation falling down almost right above the heater. So that's another, we definitely need a new roof on both the Public Works and the L&I building. The wall repairs, these kind of cracks are all over the place where it almost looks like the building's shifting. This was just the most dramatic one where you could see the steps pretty much going up the wall.
Oh my God.
And then finally, just keeping up with the paving program and the curb ramps. This is Fairview Road, I guess it is, right off of Henry here. When I went to go take the picture, I was backing up and I almost fell over, tripping in one of the holes. So I'm glad that's on the list for next year. Speaking of the road program, in 2022, we did about 6.5 miles. We have another 6.5 planned for 2023. So when you add those two, plus what was able to be done the year before when we took out the loan, the 22 miles, that's 35 miles in 3 years of roads that have been repaved within the township. So that's something to really hang our hats on. So these are just some of the capital projects, with some other notable projects being the HVAC system and generator project over at the senior center, security cameras for both the parks and all the township buildings, and vehicles for the police and public works are all on the list. The complete list can be found in the budget on Schedule N, and it's broken down the purchases by fund, so you can see where everything's coming from. In total, the estimate projects and purchases that are in the current budget are $6,268,000. Not saying everything's going to get done, but if we did everything, that's about our estimate right now.
And a lot of that's going to be done with ARPA money as well.
Yes. Yeah, and we
Yes.
do have funding sources and everything. So here's-
Which, by the way, sorry, John, I didn't mean to interrupt, but which, by the way, we would not be able to do half of these projects if we didn't have that ARPA money.
and if the federal government didn't free up the
Make it-
restrictions on it.
Yes, correct.
So here's the mission statement for this and budgets going forward: to preserve and maintain our services and infrastructure for the benefit of current and future Warminster residents. I believe with the projects we just kind of reviewed, we're showing the importance of looking towards the future. And finally, the most important slide again, I can just repeat this over and over. In conclusion, the 2023 tax year, the operating budget will continue to provide high-level services with no increase to tax millage.
That's the big takeaway.
Now, any questions?
I've been through this budget 1,000 times. I really don't have any, because I know we've spoken before about it. I don't know if the board has any questions.
I don't.
I'm happy to see that we've kind of really taken the ship by the helm and steered it away from that iceberg. We still have a way to go, but, you know, I want to thank you for really putting all your time, and the staff for giving us another balanced budget.
And I think it's important to point out, like, we've kind of stopped the floodgates by balancing next year's budget, but also started looking forward and putting these numbers into capital and reinvesting.
Right. Yes, reinvesting in the township.
Yep.
So it's exciting that we don't have to raise the taxes for our residents, and we are still making capital improvements in the township. And our Parks and Rec, the Shenandoah Woods project that we're doing, I just saw the video for that. That was amazing, by the way. You prepared, all of you and the staff, done a phenomenal job for residents to be able to understand exactly what's happening here in the township, what we're able to spend, that we're staying within our budget, and doing the repairs that we need done. And thank you for an excellent presentation, John. Thank
And
you.
we'll have copies of the budget at the front desk here. You can pull one over to the library. If anyone, residents-wise, wants to ever take a look at it, please give me a call. I love talking numbers, so.
Well, John, I have to say, I love the way you laid it out this year. It's very easy to understand and very easy for anybody to look at and understand it. And I just wish there were more township residents here, because I see all kinds of comments and things in the media and people venting about things that they don't get any information on, and they need to really come out to a meeting or check it out on our video, on our TV station, or come to the library and see it, because it really is very comprehensive, and I'm really happy with what we've done here this year.
As a wise man once told me, you know, you report something like this, and all of a sudden, all the comments, everyone's an expert.
But they don't come to meetings, you know.
It's because it's a big budget, it's a lot of money, and, you know, you did a nice job, thank you.
And very well done, John. And I know we're not over the bridge yet, we still have ways to go, but this is good.
Yeah.
We're on the way.
And we still have pension issues to tackle. And
Yeah,
things like that that
Yes.
need to be
you know,
tackled.
it took years and years and years to get where we were, and it's not going to be fixed overnight, but we're making huge strides in not making mistakes that were made in the past. So,
Part of it is because we have a genius in charge of
well, we have
Right.
very capable people, and,
Not to mention, we're not selling our most valuable asset to be able to pay for these things, that we're staying within the budget, and you're doing a great job, all of the staff, everybody. We have all tightened our belts, we've gotten to this point, now we're able to do some improvements, and I think this is really a great report, and the way that you laid it out, the way Judy said, everybody can read it and understand it, because you have the graphics along with the numbers. But thank you.
Yes, please look at the schedules behind the budget, because
Yes.
that's where I draw from everything.
Right, thank you.
thanks, John.
All right?
Thank you, Johnny.
All right, thank you,
I've
guys.
been looking at schedules half my life. All right, so is there a motion to advertise?
Motion.
Second.
Second? Any other questions from the board? I think we have a pretty good budget in hand, and look forward to everyone having a look at it. Any questions from the public? All right, let's call a question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries 5-0.
No comments
Thank you.
from the people? Nobody? No comments? Well,
Johnny will be up second.
Yeah.
Comments coming.
Not yet. Not yet.
Well, if there's a comment, I.
No, there is no-
asked for a question,
Oh.
but if
Well, we just took action.
you're
Oh.
asking about a question to call that question,
A budget question.
budget question.
You're the chairman, I defer.
Should I sit down?
Doing public comment? Want to do it in public comment?
Why don't you do it a public comment?
Okay,
It's
that's
not,
what I-
it's
That's
not,
what I thought.
yeah.
When I
Yeah.
say comment.
yeah, it's, I
Thanks,
mean,
John.
normally before we vote, everyone has a chance to do that, but we're okay. All right, professional reports. Mr. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I want to follow up on what John said, that our great department heads are great and very diligent custodians of the township's money, and they are dedicated professionals that we would be hard-pressed to survive without. A couple of them are here tonight, including John. There's Mr. Velton, Chief Donnelly, and all the other department heads do a great job. And this is foremost on their mind. And if you attend one of our infrastructure committee meetings, you see just how much work those last couple slides that John had up for all those projects is going into trying to find the best way to proceed, the best way to advise the Board of Supervisors on proceeding for those projects. And at the next meeting in December, we're going to have two things to talk about. The first is Shenandoah Woods, was alluded to a minute ago. The houses are coming down, and when they're all down, which will be soon, there'll still be slabs there. There'll be 199 of those slabs. It's all slab construction, no basements. So we're working with the Bucks County Redevelopment Authority and the current contractor to come up with a way to remove the slabs and put a price on what that would cost. They have something that they've sent over. I'm going to ask that we set the agenda for December. I'm going to put that on there for discussion. In the meantime, we're going to check with the solicitor to see what our requirements are for advertising, or if we need to rebid or whatever we need to do. But I knew that was the next step for Shenandoah Woods. Buildings come down, great. What about the slabs? So we're trying to see if we can get a way forward on that before the end of the year, or very early in 2023. The second thing I wanted to bring up is the park projects that John alluded to on the slide. You saw the light. There's a lot behind that photograph that's in play here. So we're going to have a presentation from Jessica Fox, our Parks and Rec Director, and working with Gilmore and Associates to come up with some ideas on how we can proceed and run them by the board. And then after that, we're going to have stakeholders meetings here, the library, at the rec building, to bring the facility users, what? I'm struggling for the term here. The folks, the people, the patrons, the residents to come in and voice what they think would be the best way forward for each one of those parks. You know, for the lighting, for the facilities in general, and end users was the thing I was reaching for. So that's my report, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Thank you. And I want to thank John and all the department. It's been a great year working with everybody. I do mean that. Thank you.
I have to say, and Mark attends those infrastructure meetings as well, and I'm really pleased of the staff that we've assembled, this board's assembled, because I sit back and I've assembled a lot of people in my time to work, as a manager, and to sit back and watch that everyone's rowing in the same, we're all rowing in the same direction. There's camaraderie. There's nobody's in their own silo defending their own little turf. It's a real pleasure to sit there and actually watch the staff work together for a common goal, which is for the residents. And I have to say, it put a smile on my face last time. I had to go around. Yeah, I do. Once in a while I smile, believe it or not. So, yeah, and I went around to all the department heads and I told them what a great job they're doing and how pleased we are that everyone, and every one of them has said to me, which really is a reflection of the board, that they love working here. So that's a feather in our cap. So, and I do smile once in a while. Sometimes here it's hard to. All right, thank you, Mr. Scott.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Holbert.
Yes, thank you. We spoke in executive session about the one legal issue, so there's not too much otherwise to report. We would just like to wish everyone a happy, fun Thanksgiving. Enjoy your friends, your family, some football, and get that nice turkey nap in between the games. So have a good holiday, and we'll see you in December.
All right. Thanks, Scott. Mr. Kennard?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I gave our report from November last meeting, a couple updates. I've got questions on in the last 2 weeks. There's some construction that's still going on at 911 York Road. We got an update tonight, actually. That's the townhomes next to the next to what?
Hardis.
They're having issues with some materials on garage doors, so I know there's some construction noise going on. They're hoping to have that work done within a month, and then working on interior construction throughout next year. But again, delaying materials, construction's dragging on. I know we had a couple of noise complaints. They're still within your ordinance, but anytime after, dinner time, I know people get upset when there's construction going on. Another update, we had some complaints about the Aldi grocery store that's open and done, but as everybody knows here, it takes like a year later to clean up all the punch list items. There was some work done at Debbie's Place. We were not involved as a township engineer, or the township was involved with some acquisition of easements to make that job go. So it turns out there was a lot of paving the parking lots, installing improvements that we never saw, the township wasn't aware of. And, that's up to the property owner to negotiate, whether it's money or improvements. So we did look at that, and I think there's some misunderstanding about who's responsible for what, but Aldi is ultimately responsible for the drainage out there. They're not responsible for any parking lot that was repaved and things like that. So I think there's a little miscommunication going on of who's, and that's been an ongoing complaint. As you know, that job never got off to a good start with the contractor, and I still have issues with the contractor. And then one big update, this week, and it's not been processed yet, and I will need to meet as a team here. 700 York Road, a zoning hearing board application was submitted. It's going through a review and completeness. That is the Tesla site across from Archbishop Wood, the old 263 Marketplace. They need several variances. We did have a staff meeting with them 2 weeks ago. I had an engineer meeting with them on Monday, and I thought we were going to see a revised sketch plan that we would review, do a zoning review, an engineering review, and they chose to just submit their application directly to the zoning hearing board, which went against our direction at the staff meeting last week. So we're going to do everything by the book on this one. I know it's a visible project. I know there's, difference of opinions on how that site should be laid out. There's not a lot of improvements shown on the plan that I did receive. I think we'll be able to discuss it more maybe at your meeting in December about how we want to proceed with that application at board and staff level. So Scott and I need to talk with Tom. So that just came in. That has not even been processed or made it to the docket yet. I think the zoning hearing board is booked up, so that wouldn't be until January.
Okay,
So they did not waive the 60-day clock.
okay. So we need to,
So we need to, all eyes on that one.
yes.
That's
That
it,
means
Mr.
the
Chairman.
zoning hearing board has to give them a verdict within 60 days of the day that they apply.
Yeah,
Okay.
it just came in, so we haven't had a chance to talk yet, so
Okay.
I haven't even looked through it yet.
That's if it's complete.
If it's complete.
If it's complete, yes. I know there's been
And
some
paid for.
issues there, yes. All right, thank you, Craig.
Mhm.
Tom, when's our next meeting?
I think at the last meeting, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, the board decided to identify December the 15th as the next Board of Supervisors meeting, passing the first scheduled meeting for December, which would be December 1st. So we will reassemble on December the 15th in this room.
Any
For our
objections?
No objections.
Thank you. Also, may I just make one more thing? I neglected to say, with as great as it's been working with the department heads and our consultants this year, I also want to say that we've had very good discussions with our labor unions. And the negotiations have been going on for a while, but we think we're making progress, and they are also our stakeholders as well. That was the word I was looking for,
Yes.
stakeholders. So talks have been going on for a while, but we think we're making progress, and they are good strategic partners to be involved with. And as representatives of both the employees that we have and the labor in general, I think they do a good job. Thank you.
Okay, Tom,
Thank you,
thanks.
Tom.
Okay, second round of public comment.
It's gonna be a while. You sure? She's gonna be a while. She hasn't been here in a while.
Thank you.
Jerry, how are you?
Hi, Jerry.
nice to
I'm
see
well.
you.
How are you?
Okay.
My name's Jerry Shadrew. I live at 462 Gibson Avenue, and I was at home listening to the meeting, and I heard Ken talk about how important it is to budget for what we need, spend what we budget, and move forward. And I know that at the library, we only have 3 full-time employees that are budgeted for. They were budgeted last year, they're budgeted this year. And it's challenging to do that, run that library with 3 but there's plenty of part-times, but with the 3 full-times. But we've been doing it, and except for the last 6 months, because we had a change of personnel, and we're not getting the approval, although we have a person in there that's doing the job part-time with part-time hours, we really could use to bring her on full-time. Now, I know that there's other things going on, discussions, labor contracts, those kinds of things, but it's been 6 months. I'm glad to hear Mr. Scott say that there is some movement that's going towards that. But if we budget it for 3 full-time, we've had it budgeted last year, it was funded, it's budgeted this year, and it's funded. I'm frustrated, I guess, just that it just continues to be that 3rd person, as I look at it, is being taken advantage of because she's here doing a job on part-time hours, and because benefits or whatever, it seems like it's being held up to wait until the contract comes in.
That's not just her.
Yeah, well.
That's the police and other departments as well.
And I can't say that, just because it's getting done to a lot of people doesn't make it right. I just think at this point.
Well, we're negotiating a new contract, and we don't want to bring, I'll let Tom speak, but quite honestly, some of these contracts, we know there's going to be some modifications, and we don't want to bring in employees under the old contract. It's simple as that,
Okay, if
Jerry.
the work rule, things like that, I can understand, but if our prior librarian was there, we would have had those same expenses if she would have stayed on. She chose to leave, and now we don't.
And we have every intention of making her full-time. That's what Tom has told me. You want to
Yes,
speak to
I've
this,
heard
Tom?
that too, and I've heard it for 6
Good.
months. So I just thought I'd come over and say, after I heard you say about when you budget for something, you spend it. I just thought I'd come over and make those remarks. Have a great Thanksgiving,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Is that it, Jerry?
That's it.
Is that it?
That's it.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Jeez.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. John Priol with 674 Joseph Avenue. Was looking at the bids for the municipal bids for the vehicles and stuff. I talked to Mark a little bit about it, touched on it. I don't know what the scenario is, whether you have to go through municipal bid to get rid of like the old police cars and your equipment and all that stuff. But I looked at the numbers for the vehicles and I felt that they were really, really low. I saw one plow truck with a blade on it, was sold for under $3,000. I think that truck retail on a lot would be probably 10 or 12,000. I know that if it was sold at an auction like Manheim and Hatfield, it would probably have done 6 to 7. So I feel like some of that stuff, equipment's equipment. It's tough to get a spot. You'd have to have an auction to do it a little differently. I know that there's always a question about where the money's going and all that stuff. But in Manheim, I know like U-Haul does it and some big companies do it. They'll go and talk to the people who are running it, and like all your old police cars and all that stuff, they can all be run through the auction, and you put they would give you a value on it, what they think that it would do, and you'd know exactly. There was no real reserve or anything on any of those vehicles. I think you lost a lot of money. It's my opinion. I'm in the car business. I see it. I buy and sell cars. So, like that plow truck, I think was like $2,300 with the blade on it. I would have paid $8,000 for that thing all day long, but you didn't get it. So, something we need to look at. Use your resources in town. Maybe next time around, we'll take a look at it. I have a friend of mine that buys and sells the police cars. He goes around and buys them off municipal bid, paying like $2-3 for them. I sold the last one, I think, for $12,000 right off the lot on York Road. So there's a lot of room there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're required.
I don't know.
Anything, personal property, anything over 2,000, you do have to put it out to bid.
Okay.
But can you put a reserve on it? Are we operating the thing right? I mean, because I think that you can put a reserve, you should be able to put a reserve on each vehicle or whatever you're doing and start your asking price.
John, quite honestly, we'll have to look into that,
Yeah,
because
I
I
mean,
don't
it's
know how,
something to think about.
I don't know how
Yeah, definitely.
municipal bid works, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know everybody uses it.
Right,
All
I know
municipalities.
everybody uses it too, but there's,
Right.
you know, I didn't know if you can go outside that, or,
It's a good question.
you know, just to think about it, because I looked at some, like I said, I looked at some of those vehicles, I thought they were kind of low,
Yeah,
you know? And when you guys mentioned it, and I didn't think about it, and Jerry said something to me 3 weeks ago, why don't we try getting some cars off municipal bid? So I went in and I plugged in, but the auction was over, and I was looking and I'm like, I missed the boat there, I could have done well with that.
I'd like to get one of them police cars, that'd be like the Blues
I
Brothers.
do,
You know? Pretty cool around the neighborhood.
yeah.
The other thing on the duty tow side, not that you want to hear it, but it's been almost 10 years since we've had any kind of increase in fees or any of that stuff. And everything's going up, fuel's going up. It costs more to keep the guys on, staffing them and things like that. So that's something we should look at too, because you guys control that, we don't.
We can look at that, but I heard that they were already adjusted last year, weren't they?
Well, in January of '21, that was the latest date that the fee schedule was approved. It had those numbers in it. And before that was, I think, 18 or 19, and it was the same numbers.
We can,
We're talking about what the towers charge the customers.
Correct.
Right, not what we charge the
Right.
towers for the license.
right.
No, yeah,
But we
correct.
need to, there's a lot of things in our fee schedule that we need to take a look at, and we're going to do it.
Okay.
And obviously, we don't want to make it so that it's prohibitive to have a license. So we'll take a look at it for sure. And we can, again, we can get the stakeholders involved and see what it should be and bring it to the board.
Yeah,
Yeah, they vary. They're wide, all over the board across, like Doylestown's one number. I know in Horsham they're different. Some townships don't put a number on it, and they let the tow hauler regulate it, which is not good at all. But,
yeah, I don't know if we
you
want
know,
to do that.
I mean, to have some kind of increase would probably help.
Yeah, I mean,
because
we'll
it is-
have a
it's-
look and see how long it's been, and if it's, as you say, 10 years, then
Yeah.
we'll
That
definitely
does-
look
that
at
One
it.
of
sounds right.
One of the
That sounds
things is
right,
that
yeah.
we have in there that they're giving away the first day of storage, which all the insurance companies pay a calendar day.
Right.
So it's $45. I mean, it's small potatoes, but, you
It
know.
adds up.
And then, of course, we do have the customers that can't afford to pay it, and their car's totaled, they don't have full coverage, and then we're just making them pay like the towing fee, so the driver gets paid, the truck gets its fuel, and then we take their car for salvage. So that's how we make up that difference. But like today, we had a lady, she was from July, $4,000 in towing and storage, and she doesn't have any money. She's 75 years old, you know, she just talked to the insurance company, she came over on advice of her agent and handed us the title. We said, listen, we just can't, you know, just take your car, we need to get paid at least for the towing and the, you know, the administrative costs and stuff like that. Well, I don't have any money, I'm on Social Security. So then what do you do? You chump up and you take it and you walk away, you know. So we're losing some areas that you can't help, and you also have people that drop cars off from the duty tow that never come back. So we're getting stuck with the salvage there. So there's a lot of other stuff that's hidden in the back end, you know, that we do that you don't realize from what you're seeing.
Right.
So, you know, the biggest thing is the cost to man the guys for the week, for 24 hours. You
Okay,
know, the
John.
guys want more money now to do it. Like before, they would work on a commission on a tow and they liked it and that other stuff. Now, it's kind of gone now. Everybody wants to get paid. Okay?
Yep, thanks, John. We'll
Thanks,
definitely-
everybody.
Same to you, thank you. Yep, everything goes up, except our taxes. It's getting tougher and tougher to pay for everything, but, you know. All right. Thanks, everyone, for being here. I guess I'll go first. I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe. Wednesday night is a big night, so I would suggest using Uber or have a designated driver. Definitely don't want to have our police department very busy that night. So Enjoy your holiday, and we'll see you in December. Kathy?
Hi, I'd like to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. It's a great day to be thankful for all the blessings we have in our lives. And don't drink and drive. Happy Thanksgiving.
And same here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wish everyone a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Looking forward to it. It's actually my favorite holiday.
Mine too.
Eat, drink, watch football, and
Yep.
no worries.
Family?
Yep. I also want to welcome Jill Mayer to the panel tonight. Welcome, Jill. It's good to have you here. And as I tell everyone in that seat, Jill, somebody comes in that door, duck. All right. Well, that's all I have to
You did let her know that before the meeting, right?
No.
He's not worried about me.
No, you've been here long enough.
All right, go ahead, Janice.
Like everybody said, have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. If you're looking forward to December, I wanted to share with you that on the 10th of December at the VFW here in Warminster, there will be a bingo and a sip and shop at the same time. So if you're interested, if you go on our Parks and Rec website, you'll see the flyer there and you can reserve your spot. Still some vendor spots available if anybody's interested.
Thanks, Janice. Judy?
Oh, I wanted to report to you that the Centennial William Tennant Football Craft Show last Saturday was excellent. They made almost $5,000 in
Nice.
just in selling food and hot dogs and table rents, and it was there were 126 vendors. They collected a lot of toys for tots, and they had a lot of fun. And all of those vendors thought it was so well organized that they're asking to come back. That was their first one. They're asking to come back and have it every year. So thanks to everybody who attended that. And I wanted to encourage people to come to the meeting on December 15th because we'll be voting on the budget, correct? Right. So we'll be voting on the budget. So I hope that you all look over the budget before December 15th so that we can vote on it and have good conversation on it on December 15th. One more thing is this holiday season is coming up. There's a lot of depression in Bucks County. There's a lot of young people that have no homes. There's a lot of people with no homes. A lot of people have been devastated by inflation and COVID and everything else that's happened in the last couple of years. Remember them. Look out for your neighbor. If you see any drug dealers behind the shopping center or wherever you park or wherever, make sure that you call the drug tip hotline at 215-345-3784. And let's push out the pusher. You know, we still have signs in the lobby and at the police headquarters too that you can put on your lawn that says push out the pusher with a number on it for you to call if you see any drug activity going on. People are lonely this time of the year and they resort to self-medication, so keep an eye out and have a real happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
Thanks, Judy. Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, everyone.
How you doing, Jerry? All right? Good. Doing okay. No complaints.
Yeah, how you been?
You know,